Hi there. My name is Matt Hames, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Digital and Social Strategy at 3Enrollment Marketing. It's prediction time. I already did one prediction. You can see it. I'll put the link below to the first prediction. That was about AR and VR for higher education marketing in 2024. My next prediction is a little bit out there, but stick with me. You may have been hearing about the Fediverse. This is things like Blue Sky, Threads, Mastodon, all the things that are called so-called Twitter or Twitter replacements as Twitter or X goes through various changes and is up, is down, is loses advertisers. It's an advertising run business. So unless it gets advertisers, as Elon Musk even said, the lack of advertisers will kill the company. So if Twitter does go away, it's worth thinking about what these replacements are and what it really truly means. So just take a step back. And if you look at Twitter and meta platforms like Facebook and Instagram and even YouTube, this platform, and LinkedIn, these are all centralized social media platforms. So LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. Facebook and Instagram are owned by Meta. You've got YouTube. You've got business.google.com, which is owned by Google, obviously. You have all these centralized social platforms. And in order to post on these, we use scheduling tools like Hootsuite and Sprout Social to post on these platforms. And what we said is, like, you shouldn't post the same content on Facebook as you do on Instagram. Obviously, they're different platforms with different needs. You shouldn't post the same content on Twitter as you do on Facebook. And this is true. When I was managing the social media for an institution, we had an entire plan for Twitter, an entire plan for LinkedIn, an entire plan for meta platforms. So we had different strategies, right? And the idea of those strategies was to get people to follow the feed on these gated communities. So get people to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to follow us on LinkedIn, and see content. And along came TikTok and kind of changed that. And it started to change the game a little bit differently. TikTok said, you don't have to follow us to get content from us. You just have to tell us who you are. And TikTok began delivering content to people depending upon who they are. So Meta responded by changing their algorithm. LinkedIn will eventually change their algorithm too. It's working on it. YouTube always was the same as TikTok. YouTube was always a platform where content got in front of people based on their interests, not based on subscribing. Although subscribing does help get content in front of people, it's not the primary way content gets in front of people. So you got all these social media platforms changing. And then this year with the sort of the changes at Twitter, the Fediverse began coming of age. So again, you've got Blue Sky, Threads, Mastodon, all these platforms that are kind of changing. So here is the prediction. In 2024, institutions of higher education can have their own server on the Fediverse. This is their own instance on Mastodon. And when they have their own instance on Mastodon with their own URL at the end of it, right? So their own URL at the end of this, they can begin to start to manage their own presence. So alumni can follow them on whatever feed they want to, because the idea of the Fediverse is that if you post on Threads, somebody could see it on Mastodon. If you post on Mastodon, somebody can see it on Threads. You're already starting to see Threads inside of your Instagram feed. Threads content can be read on a Mastodon TweetDeck-like server. And then Blue Sky, of course, which is also part of ActivityPub and the Fediverse, is even more. There are a bunch of different platforms like Lemmy, which is Reddit, but on the Fediverse, there are many, many different smaller social platforms that are part of the Fediverse that are going to emerge. Now, as a school, what this means is that you're in much more control. There's both pluses and minuses. You're in much more control, but you're also in control of who is on your server. So a lot of times it's going to be your alumni. You're not going to invite just like Joe, who lives in the same town as the school, onto the server, but Joe can be part of the Fediverse as well, just not on your server's instance. It will mean that other owners of the Fediverse will allow your server into it. And I think this is a really positive thing because it's just going to be people talking about your school. It's controlled social platform. It's a controlled social platform presence on your own server. So it's named after you. I've often thought, I did a presentation at the Institute for Higher Education this summer called The Templatization of Higher Education. So most of it is templated. If you have a Facebook page, an Instagram feed, you're fitting into the templates that Meta has determined. What this, and that's the same like LinkedIn, they all look the same. So does the SERP, the search engine results page. They're all templated looks at your school. What the Fediverse can offer is an ability to break out of that template, I think. And I think it's going to take some time. It's not going to be something that you see a ton of in 2024, but I do think you'll see it at conferences. You'll see people talking about it. How can the Fediverse work to tell our story in 2024? I think is going to be an emerging and an important thing. And I think we're at the same stage that 15 years ago at conferences, people were standing up there and saying, how can social media help tell the story of your school? I think that's what you're going to see this year. How can the Fediverse start to tell the story of your school is a big thing that I'm going to be watching. We're going to be talking about at 3E, and we're going to be evaluating for our partner institutions. So what do you think? Have you tried Blue Sky? Have you tried Mastodon? Do you want an invite to Blue Sky? If you're looking for an invite, I have a bunch. So hit me up in the comments and I'm happy to send you an invite. I don't know if this is where it's going to be. I do know that it's going to mean less and less of an importance on the templated social platforms that currently exist. So anyway, lots to think about in this prediction. Tell me what you think in comments below, and I hope you and yours have a very happy holidays and a joyous and successful 2024. So we'll see you then. Bye.